Mose. We've got Commissioner Brandon Presley on the line now. Thanks so much for joining us, Brandon.
Hey, Gerard, good to be with you, man. I'm sorry we had a little technical difficulty. I think luckily this time it was on y'all's end and not mine. So.
Well, I'm glad we got that sorted out and appreciate you joining us today. So first, I guess, sir, give us an update since last time we talked. I know you've got some electric power co-ops that are busy building out their fiber broadband networks in your district and actually across the state with some laws changed there and funding available. Give us an update on that and other stuff going on from a PSC perspective.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for being with you. It's always good to join all the folks on SuperTalk. You know, Gerard, we couldn't believe a couple of years ago, you and I were talking back those days a little bit about the potential for broadband build-out, and today it's happening on a scale that we couldn't believe. Mississippi right now, particularly northeast Mississippi, has the highest concentration of fiber-to-the-home broadband projects of any place in America. And the proof's in the pudding. Prentiss County Electric, for instance, if you have Prentiss County Power, you get your power from them, all of their customers can get fiber to the home from their electric co-op, and we're seeing these projects take off like we couldn't believe, and the benefits of the people of Mississippi is so exponential of the work that we're seeing with these projects. We're going to look back in a couple of years and say we really turned the page and turned the corner on this digital divide that exists out there. We can't stop until we get every house in the state connected. It's going to be a lot of work still left to do, and I know there are folks that see their neighbors getting broadband and they're waiting with bated breath to get it themselves. I can assure them that our co-ops and our other providers, C-Spire is doing a great job in their work and expansion. They're doing all they can to get this equipment rolled out and get these installations done. And so I'm very proud of where we are. Good opportunities going forward. There's a capital projects fund in which the governor will be applying by the end of the year for, which should benefit our cooperatives immensely because those dollars under the federal law say that these projects for broadband under this Section 604, when the governor makes that application, that they must prioritize cooperatives and not-for-profits and others. And so I think we've got the right framework in place. I worked with Speaker Gunn back in 2019 to get that Broadband Enabling Act passed, and since then he and the Lieutenant Governor, Delbert Hoseman, have just worked really well with the Commission and providers to try to get some common sense policy out there. And so we hope to build on that, and the funds that we're seeing come in, particularly the American Rescue Plan dollars, which are $1.8 billion, but then secondly, this capital projects fund that is, again, targeted toward cooperatives and not-for-profits. So the federal government has already said the model y'all are using in Mississippi is what we're prioritizing for these type of funds, and so we'll see how that gets rolling.
Yeah, so, Commissioner, how are the adoptions going with respect? So you mentioned that Prentiss, the electric co-op in Prentiss County, is having great deal of making a great deal of progress and having a lot of success in getting the homes physically connected. What about the homeowners? Are they signing up?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. These numbers may be off a little bit because you being a businessman yourself, things change from day to day. But this number should hold true. Prentiss County needed about a 35% adoption rate to pay their project off in 15 to 20 years.
Okay.
So they needed 35% of their people to sign up, and I believe it may have been an 18-year payback. I don't have it in front of me, but they are now approaching 50% subscription rates, and because of our work through the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund and the CARES Act, they've been able to receive in excess of $10 million that was not counted in the original feasibility study. They weren't getting any outside grant dollars, and they needed 35% of their people to subscribe to be able to pay that thing off in, let's just guess, at 18 years.
Yeah.
They have now gotten $10 million of grant funding, and their subscription rates are nearing, if they've not already surpassed, 50%.
Okay. So when you say 50%, then, Commissioner, you're saying 50% of the addressable homes in their market, in their service area?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Every other house they pass is signing up with them, essentially.
Okay. Good. So, and they've done
and the other point to that, and Gerard, I know you and I have talked about this off camera when I've been down there.
Yes, sir.
Affordability is a big issue in there also. It's one thing to get people service, but if you can't afford it,
right,
it ain't worth a darn.
Yeah.
So their rates are about $59 a month for all you want, all the time. They give you the router for your home, and it's $59 a month for 100 megabits download speed, 100 megabits upload speed, fiber into the home.
Yeah, awesome. And hopefully what that also accomplishes is it spurs not only economic growth, but we need population in the state of Mississippi. As you and I both know, we lost population. One of 2-3 states that did so in the last census, and so much is tied to that. I was worried we were going to lose a congressional seat for a while. We skirted that, fortunately. Some states weren't so fortunate, but nonetheless, lighting up the rural areas and just implementing pervasive, ubiquitous connectivity is, I think, key to that.
Man, it's key. And the thing is, at the end of the day, this is not about 2021. It's about 2071,
yeah.
And whether or not in a world, in an economy that's moving faster than you and I probably ever thought it would, we've got to be ahead of that curve, and so we've got a chance. The biggest danger we've got, Gerard, is to fall back into the old trap of rewarding some of these companies who've had a decade to go put broadband into rural areas and have not done it, but now they're suddenly interested in some of the free money that's out there, and I'm particularly talking about some of the bigger carriers that have been involved. We need to be cognizant. We've seen what unlocking some free market principles, some business principles, and being conservative about our spending. We have seen what that will get us, and what it got us is some of the largest geographic expansion of broadband ever. We don't need a big, fat government giveaway program that just gives away to companies who have a track record of not providing results. And so if we're going to be conservative about how we spend these dollars, if we're going to be looking for the best bang for our buck, we've got to make sure that, the federal law is going to require in these capital projects funds that we prioritize cooperatives and not-for-profits. The law's already said that, because your application could be dead on arrival if you don't.
Yeah.
But let's make the best sense out of those and use a real approach that gets something done, because at the end of the day, this is a chance for Mississippi to move into the future. I'm so proud now to hear a lot of people talking about broadband. I got kind of lonely a few years ago trying to talk about this issue, but it is the issue of our day. And I'm proud, again, of the work with Lieutenant Governor Hoseman, Speaker Gunn, their willingness to come to the table and put both of those chambers to work to get this digital divide corrected.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like, Commissioner, that your district is out front in that respect. Are you guys tracking that on a district-by-district basis?
Yeah, well, we are, and now some of it we're benefiting by some historical perspective. We have most all the co-ops up here. We were the birthplace of the rural electric co-op. So I've got almost every co-op in my district engaged in broadband right now, with the exception of Pontotoc and Coahoma. Yeah. Those are the only two, and we've got some solutions that we'll be announcing probably in the next couple of weeks in those areas. But we're going to be, for instance, cutting a ribbon at Alcorn County Electric here in a couple of weeks for their 5,000th customer. We just announced the 5,000th customer at Tallahatchie Valley at Tom Bigby Electric. I tell these guys that it's co-ops, Gerard, that they got the best problem in the world. Everybody wants their service, and they got the worst problem in the world. They ain't got it to them yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Commissioner, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate that update, sir. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Always. Thanks a lot.
Brandon Presley, Mississippi Public Service Commissioner of the Northern District. Break time here on Middays. We'll come